What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. And we got a giant show, probably the biggest show we've had so far. So let's strap in and talk some Dolphins. Of course, we got to start with Tyreek, everybody's favorite problem child. So I mentioned yesterday on the show that Teron Armstead called Tyreek out. Um, Devon Achan called him out a little earlier about not having dogs on the team. Mostert kind of gave him a pass, but this has been an ongoing thing since the season ended, right? When he did we got to get some dogs in here, man. We got to get some fighters. I'm out. It's just been a firestorm. And we've seen some cleanup, but the cleanup has always been kind of Drew Rosenhaus came out and tried to clean it up. He didn't do a great job. He's like, Tyreek is happy today. It was like, nah, dog, that don't sound very reassuring. So Tyreek finally came out and really took accountability for what's been going on. That's something that I wanted to hear from him. So this is what he actually said. He said, I don't want to go nowhere. I love Miami. My family loves it. It's an amazing thing, man. We're really building something special in Miami. We made it to the playoffs the first 2 years. Obviously, this year was hard. If guys continue to buy in to what coach is building and the culture that he's trying to build, it's going to be an amazing thing. There's another quote where he actually just apologizes to Tua directly, but that's what you want to hear. And I said that yesterday. I said when you're a captain, you got to build a team up and fall on the sword. Hey man, I messed up. We're gonna win. We have a solid team. I believe in us. We're gonna go forward and make you guys proud. That's what captains do. You don't get up here and say, I know, and frustration is a real thing. I know. And anyone who's ever played the sport knows right after a game, especially when you lose, woof. Because it's all here. And you just got in the locker room. You may not have taken a shower yet. You're just feeling your feelings. And sometimes when you're a little loose, that truth comes out. And that truth hurts. When you say, man, I don't think people really competing in here. Oof. I don't know if everybody on the team want to win. We've all heard these press conferences on ESPN in every sport. We've heard people get them off, and then they come back the next day. Well, I didn't mean what I said. I mean, I love my teammates. I'm happy to be with the organization. They try to clean it up later, but we've heard people get it off, and sometimes it gets you off the team. You remember when Zach Wilson played for the Jets? I want to say 2 years ago, and he had that game where he threw 3 or 4 picks, but he lost by one possession. And they asked him, "Hey, you think you had anything to do with losing the game?" And he was like, "Nope." The next week, that boy was benched, and when the year was over, you don't just get that off. You're the quarterback. Yes, I lost the game. The game is on me. Especially, you threw 4 picks. It could have been 3, but 4 just sounds better. 4 picks. Hey, did you lose the game? I don't know, man. You got to talk to the defense about what? Your picks? Do better. Do better. Right? So I'm happy Tyreek came out and said what he said. He'll probably try to clean it up again a time or two. Again, the draft is a couple months away, so I don't know if this is a cleanup or this is trying to position for the draft. If he still wants to get traded and wants to keep the value high, let me see I'm a good teammate. Let me do the right things, and then maybe I can get traded. But if he actually wants to stay on the team, he wants to renew partnerships and get everybody on the same page, this is a great start. And hopefully he stays on the right track. Now, we talk about Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's Don Shula and then Dan Marino, right? That's kind of how that goes. So anytime Dan Marino talks about the Dolphins, we're going to talk about it because he's a legend. And honestly, for a lot of people, especially my age and up or my age and lower, it's Dan Marino even before Don Shula. That's who we saw, right? So Dan Marino was talking about what the Dolphins should do in the offseason and what his idea of what's the most important thing is. And like you would assume, he thought it was prioritizing the quarterback position. And he said, I thought we had a very good team until we started getting injuries, especially at the end of the year. Tua's our quarterback. He's going to be our quarterback. But we need to find a way to keep him healthy, especially at the end of the year when you have to win games to get in the playoffs. That's, I think, where the focus is going to be. I mean, makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. That's what I think most Dolphin fans have been saying this whole time. It's like, hey, man, we've lost a lot of games because of injuries. I talked about it yesterday with Vic Fangio, where he's like, hey, we were great until the last 6, 7 games, and it's like, what happened? Did your defense fall apart? It's like, no, we got injured. But defensive injuries you can kind of mask with second and third guys. Very few teams can have a starting quarterback go out and then still kind of maintain their same level. It's just not how it's built to happen, right? Especially for the Dolphins because they're very Tua reliant in terms of what he does well, what the offense does, and then when the offense doesn't score, defense is back on the field, hung out to dry, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Defense, like, we held up for 2 quarters. And then you give up that 12-play drive. Defense demoralized. 3 and out, defense back on the field. And that's how you start snowball losing, right? So, and Dan Marino's a quarterback too. He's also like a special advisor to the owner, Stephen Ross. So I don't know what his actual job is. Like, is he just in the building or does he have personnel decisions? It's hard to know. But the fact that Dan said Tua is our quarterback and he's going to be our quarterback, that's, you got the Dan Marino stamp. Because a lot there, I mean, listen, most people I think want Tua to be the quarterback. Most people agree with 100% of what he said. If we keep Tua healthy, late in the year, give us a chance to win, I think that's most Dolphin fans. There is a small contingency that's like, hey, I'm kind of off the Tua thing. Let's move on to someone else. But when Dan Marino comes out and says, hey, that's our guy, I'm standing behind him 10 toes, then you kind of have to fall in line. Because no one's going to talk about Dolphin quarterbacks better than Dan Marino or have more like cachet about the topic, right? And he said finding a way to keep him healthy sounds like a veiled offensive line request because he's only gotten hurt really partially by running. So something keeping Tua healthy is, hey, Tua, don't do that. Don't need it. I know it's 4th and 1. It's cool. We'll just turn it over on downs. Like, get out. We don't need that, right? So some of it is Tua, keep yourself healthy. Don't be a hero. But a lot of it is he wasn't protected. And some of it actually is the scheme itself, right? I think this is a 3-pronged blame pie, if you want to do that, right? It's Tua being reckless and being headstrong, all puns intended, I guess. The offensive line, especially in the middle, not doing their job well. That's part of it. And then part of it is the coaching, the way the plays are designed. Like maybe there should be, we throw a lot of like bubble and tunnel screens, but maybe there should be even more shorter routes where it's almost like a West Coast offense being updated. Like West Coast with super fast guys, so the balls are coming out quick, but they're always on the move. So they're catching the ball like a drag. It's like you take kind of a step forward and then cut across the offensive line. It's a very easy route. Typically, I guess if you can see over the whole line. But the ball comes out quick, and we got Tyreek and Waddle just boom, and they come across the middle, get it to them, and then let them outrun their coverage because I guess the DB typically would be trailing, right? That kind of stuff. Bubble screens, swing passes to the running back. Again, I mentioned, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I think Devon can have 100 catches. I think that's maybe the best version of the offense. And honestly, let's be real, we should be able to run the ball better. Once the O-line is better, you can run the ball better. I think Tua throwing the ball 25 times, max 30 is where you want to keep them. 25 to 30. We stay in that pocket, we're Gucci. When you start getting to those 35, 40 attempts, you got to just keep dropping back. It's a recipe for disaster. It's going to be bad for the offensive line. It's going to be bad for Tua at some point. And I think the lack of balance and maybe the fact that the offense has been so deep middle driven, we don't really hit the outsides, and some of that may be Tua arm strength. Some of it may be that our receivers are just quicker across the middles. So we do what is their skill set. I get it, but the whole effort should be keep him healthy. It's the same reason why the Chiefs don't do quarterback sneaks with Patrick Mahomes. He got hurt, I want to say 4 years ago doing a sneak one time. And they said, nope, never again. We will bring in a tight end. We'll bring in a backup quarterback. We'll let Kareem Hunt do an art, like whatever wildcat thing. He's not running sneaks anymore. You see with Baltimore, Lamar Jackson does not run sneaks anymore. He runs the ball, but they're not throwing him in the middle of that pile. They have Mark Andrews come in motion, get the ball, and then go forward. Philly does not care about Jalen Hurts' health, so all he does is quarterback sneaks. And obviously Buffalo, Josh Allen, just throw it in there, just head, shoulder, knees, and toes. They don't care. But Miami, we don't do that because we got to keep them healthy. And that's a team effort. It's a coaching thing. The whole offseason plan should be keep them healthy, keep the guys up front. I think if the Dolphins do that, they give themselves a chance to win, get in the playoffs, and then anything can happen. So we're going to finish the show on some somber news. You know, there's been up until now, this is the 23rd player from the 72 Dolphins team that's passed away. And, that's over 50 years ago, right? So a lot of those guys were in their 20s, 30s back then. So a lot of them have passed away. Anytime anyone from the championship teams passes away, former Dolphins, we got to give them love. So we're going to give love to Howard Twilley. He passed away at 81. We don't know what the causes were. Like, they hasn't been released yet. But two-time champ, 72, 73. He's one of the, I think there's only one person left who was on the actual like inaugural Dolphin team in 66. And he was one of the two up until now. He was great at Tulsa. If you didn't see, you should look it up. But he, I guess, made an impact on Archie Manning. And Archie decided to kind of give it some 2 cents about Howard's like career, especially in college. And it's rare that you hear Archie speak on people who aren't his kid or the Saints. And he said, Howard Twilley was one of the greatest receivers in college football history, with an uncanny ability to get open and change the course of a game. He simply redefined what it meant to be a dominant receiver, and his performance at Tulsa during the 1965 season remains one of the greatest in our sports history. Now, the reason he was very specific about that year is because Howard actually finished second in Heisman voting that year. And if you understand how hard it is for a receiver to win Heisman, that's a big deal, especially back then when people were running the ball as much as they were. And he played with the Dolphins for 11 years. Like, his stats don't jump off the board. So you look at his stats, you're like 23 touchdowns in 11 years. That's not like, that's literally like Tyreek should have more than that just in his 3-year tenure with the Dolphins. But different era back then. Again, multiple time champ. You got to give love to the legends. Hopefully, if he went peacefully, then what an amazing way to go. 81's a solid life, and we want to make sure his family, people who watched him play when they were younger, know that we respect our legends, we respect champions, we respect former Dolphins. We wish you the best. Rest in power. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We love all the support you guys have been giving us. We hope you enjoyed the show as always, and we'll see you next time. Peace.